U.S. launched strikes against Iran, targeting 3 nuclear facilities over the weekend. President Trump says the objective of the strikes was to end Iran's nuclear threat. The move comes 9 days after Israel first launched its offensive against the Islamic nation. Joining us now is Eyre, distinguished diplomatic fellow at the Middle East Institute and a former member of the U.S. nuclear negotiating team with Iran. Welcome. Good to have you with us here. So you've spent your career obviously studying and engaging with Iran. How do you think the Iranian leadership is going to retaliate to these actions?
Well, at first, it's all the usual suspects in terms of Iran's senior military have made the usual threats and comments after the attacks about having the right to attack the United States. Having said that, traditionally, Iran has been relatively cautious in these types of retaliation scenarios. They're very keen not to draw the United States into subsequent military attacks against Iran. In that regard, Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, posted something last night on one of his social media accounts talking about continuing to punish Israel, but he didn't mention the U.S. at all. So I think it's likely that for the time being, at least, Iran will hold off against significant retaliation against the United States.
Let me talk to you about Operation Midnight Hammer here. The Pentagon says these were precise targeted strikes on nuclear facilities, not military personnel. Was that an attempt to avoid a wider war here that obviously the Trump administration has vowed not to get into another foreign war?
Yes, I believe so. President Trump and his cabinet have said this is a one-off. They wanted to eliminate the nuclear threat and to help Israel, at least in this war goal. So, yeah, I think they certainly are not trying to escalate. What they have said, obviously, is that if Iran retaliates, they're perfectly willing, we're perfectly willing to escalate. But I don't know if Iran has heard that message. Everything Iran is saying right now is they see this as an act of war against Iran by the United States.
And they have obviously not stopped lobbying missiles into Israel here in the overnight ever since the Operation Midnight Hammer the other day. They continue to again, volley missiles back and forth. Let me ask you about this. You've been on the negotiating side, and diplomatic solutions were always, I guess, first and foremost with not only this administration, but past administrations. This action taken here now, does that really tell you that, look, you can do all the negotiating you want? They really weren't gaining any ground negotiation-wise.
I mean, first of all, let's state the obvious. To a large measure, Iran has brought this on itself with decades of anti-U.S., anti-Israel policies. Combine that with lack of cooperation regarding its nuclear program with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Add to that increasing to 60% enriched uranium. There's no civilian reason for that. But in terms of answering your question, I think that diplomacy for the short term really isn't a viable option. Israel continues to attack targets in Iran. Iran continues to retaliate. And I don't see the U.S. exercising effective pressure on Israel for a ceasefire so that Iran can negotiate. Or indeed, I don't see either side stopping hostilities so that diplomacy can be given a chance. Was it given a sufficient chance? No, I don't think so either.
Let me ask you this. From what you've been able to see and what you know about what the Iranians had as far as not only nuclear enrichment, but different facilities that were in these mountainsides, how much of a degradation do you think their nuclear capabilities took after this attack with these U.S. missiles and bombs over the weekend?
Oh, I think it was significant damage. They took out many of the main installations, or at least degraded their capability. But the larger point is, it is impossible to eliminate Iran's nuclear program, at least without boots on the ground, because it resides in the minds and the collective know-how of the Iranian scientists and technicians who work on it. So I think we've definitely set back the clock should Iran decide to weaponize. But conversely, we might have also increased Iran's desire to weaponize because it's seen that international agreements preventing force really are not serving the purpose.
Eyre, thank you very much. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, and stay with CBS News New York as we follow the very latest developments out of Iran.